The ashfall has affected at least 26 towns and left thousands in evacuation centers. Let's get the latest from on the ground. We have Gio Robles reporting to us live from Negros. Hi, Gio. How is the situation now at Kanlaon? Can you describe to us how the residents are coping with yesterday's pyroclastic eruption?
Sean, Gretchen, nice to see you both. And maayong gabi from Bago City here in Negros Occidental. Only time can tell kung kailan ulit yung eruption nitong Kanlaon volcano. State volcanologist said na in a press briefing earlier today that there are two scenarios. It'll be a magmatic eruption or a major eruption. There are factors ngayon na binabantayan nila. Number one, yung pag-akyat ng magma sa crater ng bulkan, yung patuloy na pamamaga nito. So alam mo, ngayon nasa 6-kilometer danger zone na yung mga balak ilikas or target ilikas nasa or nearly 60,000 na mga residente within the 6-kilometer danger zone. Yung pinaka-apektado nga ay yung mga residente sa La Castellana, town of La Castellana in Negros Occidental here and Kanlaon City in Negros Oriental. The DSWD earlier, Secretary Rex Gatchalian visited Bago City and other LGUs or nearby towns to check on the situation nga para makita nga kung ano yung mga pinakakailangan ng mga residente. But the DSWD Secretary earlier stressed that 1.4 million food packs are ready to be distributed. Back to you.
Gio, can you describe to us what the extent of the ashfall occurrence is like there in Bago City? Alam natin, yan ang pinaka-apektado, I believe, na lugar dito sa pagputok ng bulkan. Ano? Kwento mo lang sa amin kung anong meron dyan.
Okay, one example, if you can see here behind me, ito yung isa sa mga sasakyan na nabalot ng ashfall kahapon. Ito, hindi pa ito nalilinis. The owner said that maybe tomorrow they're planning to get this car washed. Pero sa ngayon, if you take a closer look, it looks like parang cement itong asupre mula sa Kanlaon volcano. Pero sa ngayon, ito may masangsang siya na amoy na lumalabas kasi it's sulfur. So sa ngayon naman, yung ashfall, ongoing yung washing operations, paglilinis. As you can see, hindi umulan today. Kung makikita mo din dito on the road behind me, roads are wet because may flashing operation earlier this evening para nga mabawasan nga yung ash na kung mag-cause siya ng irritation sa mata and most probably baka ma-inhale siya ng mga residente. And it's not only here in Negros Occidental and Negros Oriental where we experience ashfall. It even reached as far as Guimaras Island and even in Iloilo and Antique over at Panay Island.
Gio, kamusta naman yung hangin dyan, ano? We know you're wearing a face mask, but how's the health of the people? And we do know that, syempre, pagka tinanggal mo yung sulfur doon sa sasakyan na nasa likod mo, kaya sa iba't ibang pinaglalagyan yan, pupunta yung sulfur sa ibang lugar. Meron ba silang advice on how to deal with that? Is it as simple as hugasan mo lang, lilinisin mo lang, o meron bang specific instructions saan dadalhin yung asupre?
That's right, Gretchen. Isa nga sa mga priorities or LGUs are on alert doon sa possible na makontaminate nga yung supply ng drinking water in many LGUs here. Sa ngayon, yung ginagawa ay naka-ready yung mga LGUs, even our government agencies sa pamamahagi ng clean drinking water and filtration devices din naka-standby na just in case nga may ma-report o ma-confirm nga that there's a contamination because nga doon sa ashfall na na-mix doon sa sources of water here in Negros. Gretchen.
Gio, I think yung pagputok ng bulkang Taal right before COVID started, napansin ko nung time na yun, no, medyo iba yung itsura nung ashfall niya. Doon kung ikukumpara natin, doon sa ashfall ng Mount Pinatubo nung 90s, bata pa ako noon. Pero what I'm seeing there now, at least yung nakikita ko dyan sa kotse right behind you is medyo mas kamukha niya yung ashfall from Mount Pinatubo, meaning it's more white, mas powdery. Doon kasi sa Taal, no, it's black, very grainy siya, malalaki yung butil, at parang may mga little pieces of glass na makikita.
Yeah, maybe it's in the content of the volcanic
Right.
materials because, of course, we should understand na yung ashfall, mix ito ng sand, and then particles din na maliliit na bato from the Kanlaon volcano. So it depends on the volcanic materials na nag-mix siya when it was, nung sinabog na nga siya or lumabas nga siya doon kasama nung abo, mainit na gas at paging nung mga bato.
Nasubukan mo ba, Gio, na huminga, na wala yung K95 mask? Ano yung, naamoy pa ba yung sulfur, yung asupre sa air as of now? Yeah?
Okay, if I'm not, okay, I can't hear you guys right now. Maybe if you're asking on the situation na lang on the ground. Unti-unti nang bumabalik sa normal yung buhay ng ibang mga residente who are living outside of the 6-kilometer danger zone. Sa ngayon, as I mentioned earlier, nasa 60,000, nearly 60,000 yung mga residente na target ilikas sa 6-kilometer danger zone. And just in case lang, na itaas pa sa alert level 4 nga, itong Kanlaon volcano ay madadagdagan yan ng 10,000 mga residente pa. So nakastandby ay yung lahat. And even President Bongbong Marcos stressed earlier in an interview with members of the media that they are ready for the worst case scenario. But we don't know yet what's going to happen. But one thing is for sure that FIVOC said that days from now or weeks from now, a possible major eruption or magmatic eruption, they're expecting that to happen over here at Kanlaon. And sana nga, wag na nga mangyari dahil as we all know, papalapit na ngayong Pasko.
May chance ba na hindi siya magyari? May sinabi bang ganun yung FIVOX? Or is it really just a matter of kailan siya puputok ulit?
Looks like we're really having a difficult time with the signal. Pero yun nga, no, marami tayong katanungan pa no? Kasi bukod nga dun sa situation on the ground. Tama yung tanong mo kung
May chance ba na hindi siya sumabog?
May chance ba na hindi siya sumabog? Yung ibang katanungan ay yung sa agrikultura naman, kung gaano kalaki yung pinsala o yung nangyari na doon sa I believe the sugarcane industry is affected dahil doon sa sulfur. Gio, can you hear us?
Do we have Gio back?
All right, looks
don't
like
think,
we don't have a good signal. But bukod doon, meron pang isang binabantayan yung pyroclastic density currents. Lahar ba yun? Yun yung gusto kong itanong kay Gio.
Yes, parang I guess it's a combination. Andiyan na si Gio.
Oo.
Hi, Gio. May gusto kaming malaman.
Yes, Gretchen.
Ayun.
Ano yun?
Gio, yung pyroclastic density currents na binabantayan natin. Oo. Lahar ba yun? Ano yung sitwasyon when it comes to that?
No, magkaiba pa yon yung PDCs natin. Yun yung magkahalong bato at mainit na gas na after the eruption, yung makikita natin yesterday, yung doon sa dalisdis ng bulkan. And then yung lahar naman, ito naman yung from the ashfall na kapag maiipon siya and then it will be washed away, ay yun na yung magiging isa sa mga risk yung binabantayan din natin kasi pabugso-bugso nga din yung ulan dito, Gretchen, sa Negros. So isa sa mga fears ng mga LGUs is yung epekto naman ng lahar flow dito sa mga lugar na naka-experience ng ashfall.
Okay, Gio, ito yung tanong namin kanina before tayo ma-cut off. Meron bang sinabi yung FIVOX na baka sakaling may chance na hindi matuloy yung eruption or is it sure that it's gonna happen? Ang hindi lang natin alam ay when.
Yes, well of course, lahat tayo gusto mangyari na wag na sana ang pumutok itong Kanlaon volcano. No? Pero sa ngayon, yung sinasabi ng FIVOX, there's a possibility Meaning maghanda pa rin tayo, wag nating isa walang bahala kasi ngayon yung Kanlaon volcano mukhang mas kalmado na siya compared to yesterday no nag-erupt nga siya, and then 20 volcanic earthquakes nga yung naitala over the last 24 hours. Pero yung sinasabi ng PHIVOX is mataas pa rin kasi yung aktibidad ng Kanlaon volcano, kaya dapat maghanda pa rin just in case nga pumutok ito in the coming days or weeks, at kung hindi na rin talaga siya magpaparamdam ulit.
Okay. Maraming
Sean.
salamat.
I
Maraming
guess that's
salamat.
clear, no? It
That's
is
clear.
only a possibility, not a certainty.
It's
that
really
eruption
almost
will happen.
impossible kasi to predict kung sasabog ba,
Totoo naman.
kailan, when, di ba? So we always have to stay alert. That's the best advice. But thank you so much for that update. And do stay safe out there. That was Gio Robles reporting to us live from Negros Occidental. Maraming salamat, Gio. All right, quick break for now. Right after that, Vice President Sara Duterte says she will again skip the NBI's probe tomorrow. This is, of course, into her alleged death threats against President Bongbong Marcos. The details when we return. Keep it here.
Welcome back. You're still watching Big Story here on One News. Moving on to another story, that is Vice President Sara Duterte likely skipping an appearance at the National Bureau of Investigation tomorrow. The NBI wants Duterte to explain a statement made against President Bongbong Marcos, his wife Liza, and his cousin, House Speaker Martin Romualdez. The VP said that she had contracted someone to kill the three in case she is murdered. The NBI first sent summons to Duterte on November 29, but at the request of her lawyer, this was rescheduled to December 11. But in an interview yesterday, Sara said she still might not be able to make that appointment. She mentioned a string of commitments like Thanksgiving activities at the OVP that include a party for members of the media. Besides, the vice president added, her presence is not required at the NBI. She cited options her lawyer laid down, either to just send a position paper, submit a letter, or present an affidavit.
Meantime, President Marcos rules out a suggestion to send Navy warships as escorts to resupply missions. President BBM believes that such a move will only cause the escalation of an already tense situation in the West Philippine Sea. For President Marcos, supply runs for Filipino frontliners at sea could still be accomplished even without the presence of the military. This is the first time that Marcos made a reference to the December 4 incident, where two Chinese Navy ships shadowed and blocked a Philippine Coast Guard flagship vessel near the Bajo ni Basinloc or Scarborough Shoal. Such action raised concerns among Filipino security officials, who noted that in the past, only Beijing's maritime militia and Coast Guard were involved in encounters. Right then, National Security Council and Philippine Coast Guard officials suggested sending Filipino warships, since China is already using such in the disputed waters. But this is an idea that PBBM quickly shut down.
We are not at war. We don't need Navy warships. All we are doing is resupplying our fishermen, protecting our territorial rights. Again, it will be provocative and will be seen as an escalation. We don't do that. The Philippines does not escalate tensions. Quite the opposite. The Philippines always tries to bring down the level of tension.
Let's get some insights on this. On the big story tonight, we have political analyst Edmund Dayao. He is a professorial lecturer at the San Beda University Graduate School of Law. Thank you for joining us on the big story tonight, Professor.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, Professor, two incidents, December 2, December 4. December 2, the laser pointing incident at Hasa-Hasa Shoal. At yung sa December 4 naman, yung Navy ships of China colliding with ours, and actually hindi pala yun, no? Yun yung sumunod sa ating mga ships, pero yung B4 natin. Yung nasa
Water
gitna.
cannoning, I think.
Water
Yeah,
cannoning,
water
and also
cannoning.
may
chasing.
collision ng
Yeah.
konti. All right, do you agree with the president's statement not to send warships to the West Philippine Sea? We were talking to Richard Darian, and he said that we probably have hit the ceiling on our current strategy, and we might need to explore options. But the president putting this off the table, do you agree with that move?
I don't know why anyone is going to consider sending gray ships or military ships, in this case the Philippine Navy, in the West Philippine Sea. Actually, this is what China is wanting us to do the whole time. No? Actually, talagang tawag dito, they're baiting us basically to be the one to start the escalation. And this is precisely why kung tawagin sa international politics, sila yung nagpauso ng gray zone. No, ayaw nilang sila yung mauunang magpapaputok o gagamit ng violence, no, but everything that they're doing is actually bordering on out and out violence. And so I'm quite surprised, no, that whether or not it's the officials or an opinion maker is going to say let's send the military. No, China is the one that's baiting us, and we don't want to be playing. No, we don't want to be getting into the play that they want us to take.
Well, I think, Professor, no, if we can recall the June 17 incident near Ayungin, we remember what happened, no, when the Chinese spotted
Uh-huh.
a Navy boat, right? We lost a finger, we lost some weapons, and that was a big, big brouhaha. Do you think that was a, kumbaga, natuto tayo from that experience? Or did that experience just cement na, okay, this is a bad idea, we should not send like warships to that area?
This is not the first time or the second or the third time this is going to happen. In fact, we've been filing was this a diplomatic protest left and right, and as of last count, if I'm not mistaken, if I remember still when I was taking part in some of the discussions there, it has already reached thousands of diplomatic protests, and it's not going anywhere. No, China really is this pushing the envelope, so to speak. So again, we don't want to get into the play that China wants us to get into, no? So maraming nasasaktan, no? But if we are going to retaliate, and we're going to retaliate in a way that will be adjudged as not bordering but out and out violence, tayo yung sasabihin na nagsimula nung gulo diyan, no? So we don't really want to be doing that, no? The formula that the government should be exploring, and I think this is the direction, no, that the government is doing, is to work more closely, no, to our neighbors, because instead of just working with the United States of America, with Australia or any other country that is outside Southeast Asia, no, should be the way forward, no. And if I'm not mistaken, there's already initiatives, no, towards joint maritime law enforcement. At the end of the day, overlapping din ang claims, no, ng neighboring countries in Southeast Asia. So it's in the interest of all the countries, no, to work together and deal with China as an aggravation, instead of just following the preferred approach of China. China has always been dealing with Southeast Asian countries individually, bilateral. Kasi yun ang ginagawa nila, bully talaga yan, no? So China is not going to deal with Southeast Asia as ASEAN. China is going to remain dealing with the ASEAN countries as individual countries. That's China is playing right into the weakness of ASEAN, with this consensual process, no, in decision making.
For a joint maritime patrol, which countries do you see would be most feasible to work with, given the different claims of the countries? And what would be required to have those joint maritime patrols that you're suggesting?
Actually, I'm not just suggesting it. It's already happening, no? Matagal na yung usapan na yan, eh. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, even before 2022, there were already initiatives to that effect. I'm not sure how advanced it is right now, but I'm inclined to think that that is the way forward. Yung namang overlapping claims is not as should we say controversial as that which as that of China, kasi China lang naman ang talagang magulong kausap diyan, eh, no? So we've had the discussions with not only Vietnam, not only Malaysia, even Indonesia for that matter, and that has always been productive, no? I'm not really sure why it's not being publicized much, no? But the discussions have always been there, no? There are agreements that have already been put in place, as far as I remember.
Yes, you're right. Actually, I think nagkaroon lang ng joint sale, I believe, with Australia and South Korea just over the weekend. But Professor, ang dami rin kasi
Iba pa yun sa Australia, South Korea. Now, South Korea is coming in, no? Because South Korea is also experiencing the same problem, no, in their area together with Japan. Ganun din, nangbubuli din yung China doon sa area na yon, no? In fact, mabang usapan niya, I don't think we'd be able to cover it in this news
But
coverage of
which
yours. No?
countries? Which countries, Prof? Is it
What do you mean?
Vietnam, Indonesia?
No. You
Malaysia?
mentioned earlier Australia and South Korea. Iba pa yon, no? Ibang involvement pa yon kasi donor countries yan eh.
Pero
What-
dito po sa
what
Joint
I'm referring
Maritime
to
Patrol.
What I'm referring to is maritime law enforcement. No? So ibig sabihin joint patrols in the area.
So kumbaga joint enforcement.
That's right. Joint
Of all
maritime
claimants.
enforcement,
Of all
MLE.
claimants.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. So how feasible is that, no? Kasi nakikita natin rin, of course,
It's not happening. It's already
yes.
happening. In fact, there were already joint patrols
I think
that
with
were
Indonesia.
conducted.
Yeah.
Yes, with Vietnam and Indonesia, if I'm not mistaken, and even Malaysia. Kung hindi man nagkaroon na ng, pero hindi, nagkaroon na ng joint patrol. Hindi ko na lang maalala with all these issues happening. No?
Pero Professor,
yeah,
sa nakikita mo, no, ang dami kasi nagyari this year, no, we passed our 2 maritime domain law, yung
Yeah.
archipelagic zones natin, nagyari yon. Nabuking din tayo na may task force ayungin dito, di ba? No less than US Defense Secretary Austin was the one who tweeted that, nabulaga tayong lahat. Some analysts kasi say na, whatever happens, China on the ground or in the water will do what they will at they don't really care about these things. Kasi may mga iba nagsasabi, kasi magulo yung bansa natin, nag-aaway yung presidente, vice-presidente, so they're taking the chance. Tapos magkakaroon ng transition from Biden to Trump. Your thoughts on all of this, international geopolitics, local politics?
If we're going to factor in all these noises, wala talaga tayong maiisip dito. No? Kasi talagang, at the end of the day, the politics in the United States of America, to my mind, I'd like to, not I'd like, but I've always seen that or considered that as entirely separate from how we deal with the West Philippine Sea. No, magkakaroon man ng pagbabago diyan with the assumption of Trump by January, that will still take time, no? And kung meron mang pagbabago na mangyayari diyan, hindi ganon ka-radical. Take note that regardless whether the president is a Democrat or a Republican, we've always maintained relations with the United States of America, even during the time of the previous president who was obviously very much close to China, no? So hindi magbabago 'yan. Ang magbabago diyan siguro yung direct interest, no, of the president of the United States of America. But we should also take note that during the first presidency of Trump, no, he in a number of occasions, no, made the very describe China very negatively, no? So hindi din siya pabor sa China. Ang mag-iiba diyan yung direct assistance na ibibigay ng America under the new Trump presidency, no? But the soonest that the US is affected directly by any action, no, in the West Philippine Sea, whether by China or the Philippines, papasok ang Amerika diyan, no? Not because we are hurt, not because we were hit or what have you. Basta apektado ang Amerika, papasok yan diyan. So let's disabuse ourselves with all those the more important thing is let's mind ourselves with how to deal with China with all these gray zone tactics. Again, we don't want to play into the bait of China. No, this is purely I can even describe it as a pure and simple psychological warfare. Siyempre, yung unang maiinis, yun ang unang matatalo talaga. No? So wala tayong magawa kasi at the end of the day, we're significantly smaller compared to China. So even if we want to go to war, the question is how do we see actually sustaining even, no? If it's just a question of fighting the war, no? Hanggang saan tayo tatagal? Yun ang problema dyan.
But Professor, if you say that, if you propose a joint maritime enforcement amongst the claimant countries, it also means that we have to be able to offer something to drag the other countries into our own conflicts with China, right? So how do we beef up our own fleet? If Coast Guard were to front the patrols, how do we beef up our Philippine Coast Guard that it will have its own integrity and can stand for itself as a credible force?
I'm not sure how to put the two things that you mentioned. No? Let me just answer the first one. No? How do we convince the other parties to cooperate? We don't need to convince them; they're already cooperating. Again, if I may reiterate, in fact, I'm still part of the loop, no, in the exchanges that's happening between directly between government officials, no, and civil society groups and scholars or academics like me, no, who are very much interested, no, in the issue or one way or the other have been involved, no, in the issue, no, for some time before or doing some studies now and so on. So I'm sure the line is not only open and but there have already been agreements. Again, I'm not sure why it's not being publicized much. The end goal here really is to strengthen the relations and the cooperation among the claimant countries. Hindi natin masesettle yung overlapping claims overnight, but at the very least, if the neighboring countries, and I'm sure that they are already convinced that if we work together, at the very least, it will accomplish, no, at the very least, sidelining or setting aside the problem with China. If we're able to work together, that's why I mentioned earlier having to or the need to counter China's diplomatic approach dealing with individual countries. China has to be forced to deal with ASEAN as an aggregation, no, as a group, kasi mas mahihirapan ang China in that with that kind of formula. So nangyayari na 'yon. Yung sinasabi mo na modernization, actually hindi tayo tumitigil sa modernization. If you are going to look at the Coast Guard now, it's a far cry compared to 10 years ago. Marami pang kailangan gawin. In fact, when I left there, ang isa sa mga kailangang tingnan nilang mabuti yung mismong bahay ng Coast Guard. Yung ang headquarters niyan ano pa, no? Parang hindi parang squatter pa sa Philippine Ports Authority yan. The Coast Guard has to have its own home, no?
Yes.
That's very crucial because in terms of operations, of course, a main headquarters is very much needed. In fact, even the transit points, no, all over the country, kailangan ding ma-resolve yan. So it's not just a question of equipment. It's a comprehensive assessment of the capacity of the Philippine Coast Guard. And mind you, if I may, I almost forgot, no, the transition from the National Coast Watch Council to the National Maritime Council was intended to strengthen the interagency coordination. Kasi interagency yan hindi naman Coast Guard lang ang concern dyan, hindi lang Philippine Navy, marami yan. Kasi pag sinabi mong maritime law enforcement, may immigration yan, may customs yan, no? May environmental fishing and so on concerns, no?
Yes.
So yun yung purpose ng National Maritime Council. So apart from strengthening the strengthening of the National Coast Guard will be dependent significantly on the in a more coordinated and comprehensive working arrangement, no, between these agencies that I've mentioned.
Well, thank you for giving us points to dig up when we get to talk to our government officials. But in the meantime, thank you so much for weighing in and joining us on the big story tonight. We have political analyst Edmund Tayao.
Thank you.
Well, up next, it's been 10 days since the island of Siargao lost its power supply. What has been done since and what problems residents now face from the blackout? We'll be discussing that later when the big story returns. Keep it here. Welcome back. You're still watching the big story here on One News. It's been 10 days since power went out in Siargao, intensifying calls for a state of calamity declaration in the island. The blackout started December 1 when a 34.5 kilovolt breaker tripped at Barangay Cagdianao substation in the town of Claver. It disrupted the submarine cable connecting Siargao to mainland Mindanao. Siargao Electric Cooperative or Siarelco is still in the process of repairing the cable. Let's get updates on that from General Luna. We have with us tonight Siargao Mayor Sol Matugas. Magandang gabi po, Mayor.
Yes, magandang gabi, Gretchen.
Wait, Mayor, ang nangyari po dito, nagkaroon po ng ground line tripping. Tama po ba?
Nag-trip yung submarine cable that connects basically Siargao,
Yeah.
Bukas Grande Islands, no, to the mainland.
Yes.
Pero yung issue kasi, I think, no, Gretch, is 10 days na and hindi pa yata nila nahahanap kung saan yung break. Can you confirm this, Mayor?
Yeah, until now, they're still looking for the fault location between Hayagabon of Claver and Doña Helen, Barangay Doña Helen. Mahirap kasi I don't know how deep is the area there. Ang divers ay nahirapan na mag-dive.
So when you're talking worst case scenario, Mayor Matugas, gaano katagal pa tong pwedeng umabot? I'm sure nabigyan na kayo ng abiso. Nakita rin namin no, yung unang memo ng Siarelco. Sabi nga nila yung phase 1 mas mababaw, yung phase 2 mas malalim yung kailangan i-dive ng diver. So, so I'm guessing nandun na tayo sa mas malalim na part. Ano po yung worst case scenario?
Ang worst case scenario, pag matagal, marami kaming problema. Dapat ay masolve kaagad. But we're given hope naman. By December 21, sabi nila okay na ang power supply. Kasi may mga alternative power services na ginawa naman ng gobyerno. Example, we had the modular generator from Lanao del Norte, a 4.4 million watts service that will come tomorrow, December 11. Tapos, meron din galing Agusan del Norte Electric Cooperative na 8 million watts. But this is on rotational basis, hindi mailawan lahat ng lugar. So, paano-ano ito, shifting ang servicing. Pagdating naman ng December 20, may modular generator again na 4 million watts, completing the needed 16 million watts to light up all the entire island. So, by December 21, well-lighted na kami. Lighted na raw ang lahat-lahat ng areas ng Siargao Island.
Okay, Mayor,
So,
may idea po ba tayo kung ano po yung nangyari? I mean, sa tinagal-tagal po, hindi naman po nangyayari ito. Yung line ground fault nga, what could have caused it?
Kasi ito naman is over 50 years old cable connection. So sa 54 years, siyempre may mga ganong mangyari. Medyo siguro marupok na yung cable, kung ano yun. Ang lakas ng current. So talagang mag-giveaway siguro.
Right. Mayor, kaninong responsibility no, na ayusin yung kable? Kay Siarelco ba talaga? Kasi we know that sila yung umako at sila yung nagsabi na we will...
Sa isip ko, Siarelco ang may responsibility to look into the situation. Dapat may advanced planning kung anong mangyayari. Siarelco siguro, and then with the help of the national government, yan.
Mayor, nakalagay po sa mga balita, no, dapat December 8 yun yung unang target. Medyo malayo po yung December 21. Bakit po kaya ganun katagal?
Mahirap kasi hanapin yung fault line, yung fault location. Yun si Congressman Bingo nga was there already joining the divers. Tiningnan talaga para matingnan kung for how long it will last the efforts of looking at the location. Wala pa talagang story na ano nila.
Ibig
sa
sabihin
real solution.
Ibig sabihin po, Mayor, pagka nahanap na po yun, kinakailangan po bang palitan yung buong linya bilang 50 years na po
I
yan at
think so.
maaaring mangyari ulit?
Kailangan, but it will cost daw 26 billion.
Oh, wow.
26 billion pesos.
Okay.
So, saan kaya? Baka naman may pera ang government.
Oo nga. Okay, eto na lang, no? We're running out of time, Mayor Matugas, pero certain questions, I think one of the main issues is clean water. Kasi, syempre, namatay din lahat ng water pump. So, alam naman natin, no? Kahit kaya natin tiisin na walang kuryente, medyo mahirap yung walang tubig. Number
Yung
two,
walang-
yun nga, peak season dyan ngayon sa Siargao, gawa ng December. So, sobrang daming bookings. You're the mayor of General Luna. Napakadami pong tourist establishments there. In fact, a lot of my friends moved na to your town to put up businesses. And doon ko nga nalaman sa kanila na wala na palang kuryente at umaaray na rin. So, ano yung plano po no, ng mga negosyo dyan since nga marami daw nag-cancel, na mga magbabakasyon sana? Kamusta yung lagay ng mga tao, yung mga negosyante dyan?
It's business as usual. Yung mga malalaking resorts, business is still going on. Bumibili ng mga generators. Walang magawa kundi bibili sila ng genset. Ang problema ko lang, at nakakawa naman yung mga small business enterprises na hindi kayang bumili ng genset. So, nag-isip kami ng paraan paano matulungan.
Oo, mukhang
Maybe magpautang ng pera para bumili sila ng genset. Hanap kami ng pera kung saan sino magpautang.
Ang solar po ba posibleng maging solusyon?
Actually, nagpadala na dyan, di ba? May nagpadala ng solar panels dyan. I think under Congressman Bingo.
Si Kong Bingo nagdala dito ng 30 generators and 300 solar panels, Kong Bingo. Ito naman ay galing ang Speaker Martin Romualdez. So, and we're happy to receive this thanks to the Speaker's help. Nakatulong din. Dinistribute ko yung solar panel sa kapitan, lahat, tsaka yung generator, ginamit namin. Oo.
Bilang kahulihan, tanong po, Mayor, kasi nauubusan na po tayo ng oras. Ano po kailangan? Ano po panawagan po ninyo in terms of aid?
Magpasalamat lang ako sa Manila Waters na dumating ngayon. Mag-provide sila ng free purified drinking water, Manila Waters. And then we have Maynilad also is coming tomorrow to service us also with purified water. But before that, meron naman kaming Abejo Waters, yung supplier ng waters namin na nagsiservice din sa mga tao. Medyo wala namang problema ang tubig ngayon. Dahil sa Manila Waters and Maynilad Waters, I can cover the needs of my people only in my town. I don't know with other municipalities.
Okay, Mayor, sana po ay talagang matuloy na bago magpasko, lumiwanag na. Talagang bumalik na ang kuryente po dyan sa inyo. In the meantime, maraming salamat. We're glad to hear that several of the gaps have been already addressed. But we hope it continues on. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. General Luna, Siargao Mayor Sol Matugas.
And that's it. We've cleared run out of time. That's it for the big story tonight. But 15 days to go until Christmas.
15 days to go. Napakalapit na, no? We are One News, all sides, all the time. Stay tuned because coming up next is Play-by-Play with Andre Felix and Cheska Litton Kanlaon.
Hi!
Hi!
Good evening!
Hi! Magandang gabi. So, anong meron?
Ano meron? Wala naman.
Parang may
Pasko na.
missing eh.
Ha?
Parang may missing in action.
Oo nga, hindi. Nasa
Kulang.
PBA si Pauline.
Anong meron?
Cover ng PBA.
Nanood lang siya ng game.
Wala lang nanonood
Hindi, tinatanong namin.
Gusto
Hello,
naman
Sinesegue ko na nga yung...
Marami. O sige, pwede na kayo umuwi. Thanks, Tita Sean and Ate Gretch. We've got the NBA, the PBA, as Gretchen and Sean were asking about, and PBL updates. Plus a preview of Game 2 of the UAAP Men's and Women's Basketball Finals.
And we also tell you about a huge medal haul for the
Yeah,
Philippines
wow.
in the 2024 World Taekwondo Pumsay Championships.
Wow, that's a lot. I'm Andre Felix.
And I'm Cheska Litton Kanlaon.
And here's tonight's Play-by-Play.